Earl Brooks, a successful businessman, walks into an elegant banquet hall to receive the prestigious Portland Chamber of Commerce Man of the Year award. The applause from the well-dressed crowd fills the room as Earl steps onto the stage, poised and dignified. He gives a humble, articulate speech thanking his loving wife, Emma, and praising his employees at the Brooks Box Factory. The crowd continues clapping, impressed by his genuine kindness. To the outside world, Earl is the perfect citizen, successful, philanthropic, and admired by all. But inside, Earl feels a nagging voice whispering in his mind, telling him that he doesn't need to keep pretending. After the ceremony, as Earl walks to his car, the voice grows louder. Once alone in the car, a figure appears in the back seat. A dark, menacing presence. It's Marshall, Earl's alter ego, a representation of his murderous addiction. Unlike Earl, Marshall is loud, cynical, and unapologetically smug. He mocks Earl's attempt to play the perfect, responsible man. Marshall reminds Earl that he hasn't killed in 2 years. He taunts him. "How long do you think you can keep this up?" Earl stays quiet, refusing to engage. He insists he has it under control, that he has been going to AA meetings and has kicked the habit. To Earl, the urge to kill feels like any other addiction, something that can be managed. But Marshall smiles, his knowing expression signaling that Earl is fooling himself. Later that night, as Earl lies awake in bed next to his sleeping wife, the weight of his inner turmoil presses down on him. The room is dark and still, and the faint sound of Marshall's voice echoes in his mind. In a moment of desperation, Earl gets out of bed and kneels beside it, clasping his hands in prayer. With a soft whisper, he pleads, "Help me." His voice is raw, filled with genuine pain. This prayer isn't for show. It's his plea for freedom from the darkness that has haunted him for so long. Behind him, barely visible in the shadows, Marshall watches, like a demon standing in the corner, relishing Earl's struggle. The sound of a police scanner crackles in the background and a voice announces, "No leads in the thumbprint killer case." Earl, still kneeling, glances toward the scanner. He hears Marshall's voice, whispering the final push. "Just one more time, it'll make you feel better." The screen fades to black. The next morning, Earl appears calm and collected. He kisses Emma goodbye and heads into his study. The room, warm and orderly, is a contrast to the chaos inside his mind. He moves through his morning routine, but his expression is distant. Marshall is already waiting in the study, like a quiet devil, whispering, "Let's just take a look. You can always put it away again." Earl resists, but Marshall's words hang in the air. He drives downtown, parking near a tall building. Entering the building unnoticed, he moves through the halls like a ghost, his footsteps silent. From a window, he watches a young couple across the street in a loft. They are engaged in a passionate embrace, seemingly unaware of the eyes watching them. The couple is unaware, engrossed in their music and intimacy. Marshall whispers instructions in Earl's ear. They're distracted. "Go now." Earl moves quickly and silently. The couple is lost in their pleasure, their backs turned to him. He takes careful aim, shooting each of them in the back of the head with his silenced gun. The bodies fall lifeless, and blood stains the silk sheets. Earl moves around the bed, adjusting their arms, positioning them in an embrace. He takes several photos of the scene, framing them as if the couple were still alive. Afterward, he carefully wipes down every surface, leaving behind only one clue, his thumbprint on a lampshade. Back home, Earl burns his clothes and develops the film in his private darkroom. The images are chilling but beautiful, each shot a work of art, meticulously staged. He places them in an album, adding them to a growing collection of previous kills. Once the ritual is over, Earl drinks a glass of water and feels a moment of relief. But as he reflects, he mutters, "I shouldn't have done it." Marshall smirks, his voice dripping with satisfaction. "But you did, and it felt good." The following day, Earl returns to his routine at Brooks Box Factory. He walks through the office, exchanging pleasantries with employees, checking on operations. But when he enters his executive suite and locks the door, his mind drifts back to the murder. The images flash before him. Marshall is there, humming with contentment. But then, Earl receives a package at his desk, a plain envelope with no return address. Inside are several color photographs, exactly like the ones he took during the murder. They capture him in the act, gun drawn in the loft. He freezes. Marshall stops humming. Someone was watching, Earl says to himself. A cold dread sets in as he stares at the photographs. Later that day, Earl receives a call on his private phone. The voice on the other end is calm, almost amused. "Nice work last night," the man says. "Very clean. Very intimate." Earl demands to know who he is, but the man simply replies, "I had a front row seat," names Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith arranges a meeting in a secluded parking garage. Earl goes reluctantly, his mind racing with possibilities. Marshall insists he kill the man immediately, but Earl is unsure. When they meet, Mr. Smith isn't what Earl expected. He's awkward, a little odd, and strangely excited. Mr. Smith explains that he had been watching the couple from his own apartment, snapping voyeuristic photos. On the night of the murder, he accidentally captured Earl on camera. But instead of going to the police, he wants something else. He wants to experience the thrill of murder, to learn from the master. He asks Earl to take him on his next kill. Earl is stunned and refuses, but Mr. Smith holds up more photographs, evidence that he knows everything. He threatens to go to the police if Earl doesn't comply. Earl is trapped. He could kill Mr. Smith, but the man has hidden the evidence. If anything happens to him, the photos will be released. Back home, Earl lies in bed next to Emma, the weight of his decision pressing down on him. Detective Tracy Atwood, a seasoned homicide investigator, is working tirelessly on the recent murder case in a loft. The crime scene photos show a chilling detail: a single thumbprint, a calling card from the notorious thumbprint killer whose killings stopped 2 years ago. Atwood, drawn to this detail, believes the killer has returned. Her supervisor is doubtful, pointing out that there is no solid evidence, but Atwood knows better. The posing of the victims and the thumbprint match Earl's previous killings. Outside of her professional life, Atwood is dealing with personal turmoil. She's in the midst of a messy divorce from her wealthy ex-husband Ray, who is trying to take her fortune. On top of that, she is being stalked by Jesse Viallo, a former suspect who escaped prison and is now targeting her. Despite these challenges, she remains focused on her case. Back at home, Earl's wife, Emma, informs him that their daughter, Jane, has unexpectedly dropped out of college and returned home. Earl is caught off guard, but masks his concern. Jane insists she simply needed a break and wants to work at the family's box factory. Earl and Emma offer their support, but Marshall, lurking in Earl's mind, is suspicious. He believes that Jane is hiding something, and like father, like daughter, she may carry the same darkness. The next day, police arrive at Earl's office asking about Jane. Atwood explains that a young man was murdered near Jane's college campus the same day she left. Jane is a person of interest, though there's no concrete evidence tying her to the crime. Emma is devastated, and Earl feigns shock, but once the police leave, Marshall is thrilled, delighted by the possibility that Jane might be like him. Earl, unwilling to believe it, still feels the seed of doubt grow within him. That night, Earl drives to Jane's college town in secret. He calls a payphone anonymously and confesses to the murder in her place, revealing details only the real killer would know. Marshall is pleased, mocking Earl for being a proud father. Earl justifies his actions, claiming that Jane won't go to prison for something she didn't do. Earl and his associate, Mr. Smith, sit in a car, observing a suburban house through the rain-soaked windshield. Earl explains the layout of the house, the subject's routine, and how they'll enter. Smith, nervous yet excited, asks to do the shooting, but Earl declines. Earl enters the house first, moving silently and swiftly, his target unaware until Earl's gun is at the back of his head. One shot, and the man is dead. Smith is rattled by the close-up reality of murder, but Marshall, from Earl's mind, critiques Smith for being weak. Atwood, meanwhile, is determined to solve the case of the thumbprint killer. She revisits the loft crime scene, carefully analyzing the victim's habits, the timing of the crime, and surveillance footage. She finds a pattern. The same make and model of car seen near previous killings is the same car Earl drives. She's getting closer to the truth. Back at the Brooks household, the tension builds. Emma notices Earl is distant and distracted, while Jane begins to act out more. Earl notices Jane's fascination with control and sharp tools at the box factory, and Marshall comments that she too might have the itch for violence. That night, Smith, increasingly desperate, insists on doing more murders with Earl. But Earl, having grown tired of him, begins to plan his demise. He arranges for Smith to meet him at a remote location for another kill. Smith, thinking this is just another lesson, agrees. He prepares like it's his moment to prove himself, but Earl has other plans. Atwood, still chasing the thumbprint killer, is distracted by the return of her stalker, Jesse Viallo. He has escaped again and is sending her threatening messages. Despite being told to step away from the case, she remains focused. determined to catch the killer. Earl tells Emma he's leaving for a business retreat, but in reality he prepares to kill Smith. He sets up a trap at an abandoned warehouse, complete with a grave and a silencer. As Earl waits in the dark, Marshall, as always, stands by, mocking Earl for his hesitation. Smith arrives, nervous but excited. He believes this is just another lesson from Earl. Earl pulls out his gun and points it at Smith, who freezes in disbelief. Smith begs for his life, claiming he idolized Earl and wanted to be just like him. Earl, cold and detached, shoots Smith in the leg. As Smith collapses, Earl calmly finishes him off with a single shot to the head. The blood splatters across the plastic, and Earl proceeds to clean the scene, burying Smith's body in the shallow grave he had prepared. That night, Earl, consumed by the fear that his daughter may be a killer, goes to Jane's room, silenced pistol in hand. He stands over her, trembling, ready to end it all. But at that moment, he wakes up, drenched in sweat. Jane knocks on his door, asking if he's okay. Earl, overcome with emotion, nods and tells her he's fine. Earl, staring up at the ceiling, realizes the terrible truth. He has passed the darkness onto his daughter. His legacy lives on in the worst possible way. He has tried to stop, but the darkness within him is too strong. It will never let him go. And to not let the opportunity for a great story go, I recommend you click my recaps on the right next. To stay informed, you can subscribe to the channel for future uploads. As always, grab your popcorn, enjoy yourself, and see you soon, my friend.